Last week I posted a video with the title, "Yes, there's new evidence that the 2024 election was hacked," which showed 5 different fake counties in swing states with a total of almost 20 million votes, which I said could be smoking gun evidence of an election hack in progress. Today, I'm going to tell you why that theory was wrong, that the fake counties were definitely simple glitches displayed by Decision Desk HQ's interface, how those glitches happened, and how I came to believe that they were something that they weren't. There's an old saying on the internet that if you want to get the right answer about something, that you just need to post the wrong one and someone somewhere in the comments will correct you. And correct me they did. In fact, the evidence is so compelling that it's basically irrefutable. But more important than all of that, this is also a story about my interactions with a group called the Common Coalition, which also goes by This Will Hold on Substack, which I now believe is intentionally distorting election evidence and undermining any attempt for an honest assessment of the 2024 election. Indeed, considering my interactions with them over the last 6 months, I believe that it is entirely possible that they are more than just a group of earnest citizens overtaken by confirmation bias, but are, in fact, backed by a foreign intelligence service. Now, some of my viewers will not want to hear what I am reporting today. But before you change the channel, I want to be extremely clear with where I stand on the possibility that someone did interfere with the 2024 election. I still think it's absolutely possible. Trump and Elon Musk have both made multiple statements that they meddled in the election software. They've been telegraphing their disdain for honest elections for a decade. There are also statistical anomalies outlined by both Smart Elections and Election Truth Alliance, both of which have appeared on this channel before, and I still find their arguments convincing and worth vetting. But getting the facts right is important, and this is a topic that is so central to the future of this country and democracy and the world at large that we have to get it right. Okay, so first let me show you how I became convinced that I was wrong. A couple of days after the video aired, a user under the handle Nate J. Gardner wrote a detailed comment that the errors displayed on DDHQ's interface likely stemmed from a transpositional error by someone hand typing in FIPS codes for states and counties during a live broadcast. FIPS, yeah, I had to look that up, is the Federal Information Processing System that issues standardized codes for every county in the country, and it's assigned a unique ID number. Now, it works sort of like how Social Security numbers work. The first 2 digits of a FIPS code identify the state, where the next 3 indicate the county in that state. So, for instance, Florida's code is 12, while Miami-Dade County's is 086. So in the federal election system, the county code would be 12086. Nate J. Gardner reasoned that someone during the live stream could have simply transposed the first 2 numbers in the code and accidentally displayed the incorrect information on screen. Now, as someone who is myself dyslexic, I can understand how this would be a very easy mistake to make. For instance, in the case of Burke County, Florida, that showed at 7:30 p.m., the operator might have been trying to enter the code 12033 for Escambia County, Florida, and accidentally entered in 13033 for Burke County, Georgia. This information would have then displayed incorrectly on DDHQ's statewide graphic. The same is true for Allen County, Indiana, and Alexander County in North Carolina, and Oklahoma County, Oklahoma, and Menominee County, Michigan. Indeed, I even noted this possibility in my original video. None of these counties exist. Though there is a Burke County, Georgia, and an Allen County, Indiana, but they don't have anywhere near as the number of voters that were listed on screen. So yeah, how do we explain those voting discrepancies themselves? To answer this question, a user on Blue Sky named MarketMaker2757 showed multiple clips from the same 5-hour live stream that I was referring to where the glitches appear. In these clips, it's obvious that the vote tallies were actually incomplete statewide results. And you can see here with Allen County, North Carolina, the screen actually flips between a statewide screen and the transposed Allen County screen, with the vote totals remaining the same in both cases. The same is true for Michigan's Oklahoma County, Georgia's Hamilton County, and of course, Burke County in Florida. I find this evidence pretty much irrefutable. The fake counties were simply glitches caused by transpositional errors during an exceedingly long live stream, rather than evidence that fake counties were used as a bank of phantom votes that would later covertly be distributed to flip the election. Now, to be clear, I'm not weighing in on whether the election was hacked or not, as much as stating that this particular evidence, it just doesn't stand up. So that's my correction, but it's the only beginning of this particular story, because I need to talk to you about how I came to put out this video in the first place, my current thoughts on leaving it live on my channel, and why I think the original source, the Common Coalition, could be a front for a Russian intelligence operation. 3 weeks ago, I got a note from a contact of mine at the Election Truth Alliance, which is a group of citizen journalists who investigate statistical anomalies in elections. Now, I've had them on my channel before and generally think that their hearts are in the right place when it comes to election security and transparency. They sent me an email saying that one of the researchers who works with them, who I agreed that I would not reveal their identity on this channel, was looking into the fake county story, but that they had not yet vetted the information. I agreed to take the interview and recorded our conversation for my records, not originally for broadcast. That source told me that she and another researcher had been working on the fake county story for several months, and she sent me a 50-page or so document with statistics and video timestamps and other information that provided the backbone to my report. Toward the end of our half-hour conversation, I asked if there was someone who would go on the record in my video to put a face to those claims. And I want to play you a section from that tape. To be clear, I'm continuing to disguise her identity as per our agreement, and I'm using an AI voice mod to alter her audio. But the language here, it's important.
So listen, there's a couple, we have another source we could use, have been working with investigators from the Common Coalition. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, I've been very, very suspicious of the Common Coalition's investigative abilities. They pull on data which does not hold up repeatedly, and they look like, I mean, honestly, I'm not convinced that they are on the up and up. They might be, they might be. I like what they're saying. I like their message. I agree ideologically with their message.
I've got a lot of faith in them, but that's fair enough. That's up to you.
Sure, but they will repeatedly cite sources that are plainly and clearly not credible, and that is, it's unacceptable as a journalist. Once you do that once, it undermines everything else you do. I explained that I do not like relying on anonymous sources, but in the end, because I spoke with her directly and I know her identity, I felt that I could still move forward with the report and simply use direct clips from the original broadcast as the foundation of the story. I reasoned that I would only cite her as a, quote, citizen journalist. Now, to be clear, I don't think my source was a Russian asset. My impression is that she really believed everything that she was saying. And once my report aired, and before I received credible information proving that I was wrong and it was just a glitch, I began receiving messages on Signal from This Will Hold, the official mouthpiece for the Common Coalition. Indeed, I've had Signal chats with their mysterious front person since July, when I posted a video that compiled all of the times that Trump and Elon appeared to admit that they were involved in election hacking.
And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote-counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.
For those of you who haven't come across it before, This Will Hold is one of the most popular politics channels on Substack. They claim to be investigative journalists and have more than 56,000 followers. At the time I'm recording this, they're number 10 in world politics. The basis for their popularity seems to be their willingness to promote increasingly wild and speculative claims about election interference. They were behind an implausible theory that Elon Musk used Starlink satellites to hack air-gapped election machines. They portrayed someone claiming to be variously an NSA or CIA spy who said that he was part of an election hacking conspiracy, but he was later revealed just to be a lone officer at Fidelity Bank. I mean, just look at his LinkedIn profile. When I showed them the obvious evidence that their source was a fraud and asked them to retract their story, they claimed that they had, quote, fully vetted him, but failed to provide any indication what that vetting actually was. Again, a total lack of transparency. That was our last conversation until last week when they wrote to me that they were outraged that I had, quote, stolen their original work when I failed to give them credit as the original poster for the fake county theory. They wrote that they were going to go public and expose me for the plagiarizing sham that I am. They wrote that I was profiting off their work by having paid subscribers on my Substack and that I was an influencer and not a journalist. Incidentally, they also charge for their Substack newsletter, and I assume they make roughly 10 times what I do off paid subscriptions, just looking at how many followers they have. Now, in the spirit of transparency, I'm going to post the full record of my exchange with This Will Hold, going all the way back to July at a link down below. Or, if you want to pause this video and read it for yourself, it's flashing across the screen right now. My main objection to the Common Coalition is simple. They are a completely anonymous organization. While This Will Hold claims to represent 62 independent researchers, all of those mysterious individuals categorically refuse to identify themselves. Transparency and accountability are the very foundation of credible investigative journalism. This Will Hold says they represent a team, but there is no way to identify the credentials or background of anyone who they work with, writing, quote, "For safety and legal reasons, members of our team don't go on the record publicly. That doesn't change authorship of the work or ownership of the analysis, and it doesn't undermine the reporting itself." Which is an interesting take, because as you can see from this channel, a real investigative journalist understands that they can't be anonymous and credible at the same time. If there is personal danger, as an investigative journalist, you have to be willing to take that risk. The legal worries that they seem to be worried about are probably just that they don't want to be held accountable for libel. This Will Hold uses their anonymity as a convenient way to avoid accountability. And this was the main reason that I told my original source that I would never rely on anything that they put out. During my reporting, I did see that the Common Coalition put out their own report on fake counties, but I chose to ignore it because of my reservations about them, and instead only relied on things that I could confirm in the live stream. And using just that live stream allowed users like you to point out that I was wrong. The other things that I ignored of them were all the mentions of vote totals rising and falling during various live broadcasts because, in my opinion, these sorts of glitches are even more likely to be simple errors than what I could clearly show you on screen as what appeared to be fake counties. I offered This Will Hold an opportunity to come on this channel to explain how they came up with their results several times and to clear up the anonymity issue. Their initial response was, quote, "I have no interest in being on your channel," 2 minutes after I asked. But then the next day, they wrote me a bit of a longer explanation. "I am not declining to appear on the show lightly. I am currently battling stage 3 cancer, in the middle of an aggressive round of chemotherapy, have 3 more surgeries, and frankly, it's miserable. Going on air just isn't feasible right now. The goal here is coordination, accuracy, and forward momentum. Hope that helps clear things up." This does not ring as credible to me. Now, while I have no idea about the health history of This Will Hold, it feels manipulative to throw cancer into the mix to get out of an interview. Indeed, if there were 62 people in this organization, why wouldn't someone else be able to fill that role? Which leads me to 2 different theories of who the Common Coalition really is. The first is that it's a group of ordinary citizens who are justifiably upset that Trump took office in 2024 and have gathered together in order to do unvettable research on elections. Like the woman that I spoke with who originally showed me the fake county stories, they could just be overzealous and prone to confirmation bias. This is possible. However, we all know that Russians have been heavily involved in election interference since at least 2016. The FBI is still looking for several Russian military intelligence agents who have tried to hack into election systems and, more importantly, use social media to sow discord and distrust in the American election process. Investigative journalist Ben Jordan put out a report earlier this year indicating that the system is so pervasive and sophisticated that as many as 1 in 3 interactions on social media are actually with bot accounts. The goal of military disinformation campaigns isn't to directly sway election results, but rather make it impossible to trust anything at all that you read or see online and make you feel helpless and apathetic to reality. Now, I believe that this will hold, and the Common Coalition fit the profile of an intelligence operation precisely because they have zero accountability. They promote knowingly fake election theories into the public sphere in order to sow confusion among people who have more reliable information. They also have never, ever once posted a correction to anything that they've put out. At this point, their conspiracy theories are so popular that they drown out more nuanced analysis by Smart Elections and the Election Truth Alliance, both of which are groups that have transparent founders that you can talk to and vet directly. The Common Coalition is more successful than them because what they have to say is more extreme than everyone else. It's a story as old as social media and algorithmic recommendations. The last thing, though, that I want to say is that it's sort of embarrassing to admit that I made a mistake in such a public forum. I want to get things right the first time and every time before I put out a report. But unfortunately, the reality is that everyone makes errors from time to time. It's an unavoidable part of the job. And the way that you can tell if someone is being honest with you is how often they are willing to admit their mistakes and issue corrections when they realize they went down the wrong path. I'm committed to correcting my errors when they happen and always post corrections in the description of my videos and in the pinned comments when they come to my attention. And in most cases, the errors are minor, but in this case, it was substantial. A few users have written to me and said that I should take down the original report, and this is a question because I want to know what you think. Currently, the video on YouTube has just over 50,000 views, which means that 50,000 people could now be parroting inaccurate information. That damage has been done. The argument to take it down would be to curtail the spread. On the other hand, it's also really important to have transparency. And if I simply take down a report as if it never existed, it destroys the paper trail of that error. Taking it down would also paint all of the information in that video with the same brush, which is not fair to the entirety of the report, which also showed other more credible evidence of election interference. Taking it down now could actually play into the misinformation chaos hand that intelligence services want to propagate. Now, in an ideal world, YouTube would allow me to re-upload a video with a disclaimer in the beginning saying that, hey, there's a big error in this, and I could direct people to this video. But unfortunately, YouTube does not offer that capability on the back end. So this is a real conundrum. Since it was viewers like you that showed me that I made a mistake, I'd like to know what you think. What is the best way for me to deal with corrections of this magnitude? Please leave your comments down below because I am reading them, and this is something that I am struggling with. As always, I appreciate all of you who tune into this channel. If you want to continue to support this kind of independent journalism, even with the errors and corrections that I occasionally make, I'd love you to subscribe to my Substack newsletter at sgcarney.substack.com. There's a link in the pinned comment where you can upgrade to a premium membership for ad-free viewing and keep me on the air. Because remember, if you're getting something for free in life or on the internet, you aren't the customer, you're the product. Thank you to all of my supporters who understand how important independent media really is. From Fox US Inc. in Denver, Colorado, this was Scott Carney Investigates. Thank you so much to my supporters here on Patreon and on Substack and even on YouTube who make this work possible. It means the world to me that you're here, and if you want to get your name on the honor roll, all you need to do is sign up at the links down below. From Foxtopus Inc. in Denver, Colorado, this was Scott Carney Investigates.